another DuskBreakers AMA. My name is Bernie Sue, the Chief Content Officer here at DuskBreakers and Meta Theory. And here's our AMA. We have a very special guest today, Wengie from Nyan Heroes. So before we get into her, we have a couple quick announcements that I want to just knock out, just to get it before we get into our conversation. So first off, we are in our week 6 of our DuskBreakers Beast Battler contest. Just started a couple hours ago, and you can win some great prizes. We've been giving away NFTs every week, 2 a week, and along with USDC to prizes and whitelist spots for future NFTs. Sometimes not even ours, but we do have a future NFT that's dropping soon. We'll have details for that in a later announcement. But you can go play the game right now. And we do have a new special addition to the game this week. We have launched our launcher, our game launcher, and I'd love to have JT, our CTO, talk about the launcher. Now, from my understanding, JT, before you jump in here, the launcher, it's an executable file that you can play both the Beast Battler minigame and the dungeon crawler or the looter shooter minigame that we use for the play to mint and the big break. So that is available now for us to play. So JT, can you come up on stage real quick? Just want to tell everybody what this is, and then we'll get to our main event.
Well, awesome. Thanks so much, Bernie. We're super excited to announce our native Windows executable launcher that you can go and download right now at dustbreakers.gg. There's a button on the top nav bar. It says launcher. Click it, download it, install it, and you get access to our secure way of doing Web3 and video game integrations. I had this particular problem with some experiences that have happened in the Web3 gaming space where you would have to type in like a passphrase into an executable. And so what I spent the last several weeks working on, and the team spent time working on, is could we have make it a Web3 native system? And so we came up with this concept of the DuskBreakers launcher. You download it, you click download on the game, and then there is an account link button. You press it, and it pops up a web browser, your normal web browser, and then you just link through your MetaMask wallet like you would link to any other website on the internet. And so we don't require your passphrase. We're not asking you to do anything special. Normal Web3 account linking. And then that allows us to pump metadata through that launcher into the game. So it's a way of interacting with contract metadata without having to ask you for anything that could be potentially compromising. So we're super excited to have launched it. It's available now. As Bernie said, both versions of the game are there, and so we can download either one, play it to your heart's content, and have a good time. And you know, this is just V1 of the product. This is an alpha product. I will say that what we spent a lot of time doing is ensuring that it was a secure system, and that we've prevented a lot of potential exploits, and making sure that everything is locked down as hard as it can possibly be. So we're happy for feedback. Please go into the Discord and let us know what you think about it, additional features you want to see. And I think the best part about this, at least for me, is the fact that you can actually play the experience the way that I played the game as a game developer, right? Like, one of the tough things about WebGL is it's not fully production ready yet. Like, I mean, it's out there, you can use it, but you don't get the full performance benefit of your computer when you're using a WebGL system. So this, as a native executable, you have allows us to fully utilize that graphics card that you got to the maximum ability and play a really, really smooth, really, really fun version of our games the way that we want you to play them. So hopefully that was a good intro, and happy to answer more questions.
Amazing. Yeah, just to kind of recap it for people who are kind of unfamiliar with what our current status. So as DuskBreakers, we have an NFT. We've had several mini games out, but all the mini games have been on WebGL, which is great that everybody can play it on a browser. But the one of the challenges that WebGL has very limited capabilities as far as resource dependencies on your PC or the computer you're playing on. So the game was basically very unplayable for a lot of people, even though they had a browser. And so it did limit our player pool for probably this entire time. But now with this executable, this launcher, that it now should open it up for really anybody to play with who has a PC. Is that correct, JT?
That is correct. Design and tested for at least Windows 10 and Windows 11. Haven't really went into any older versions of Windows, but most modern gaming PCs are on Windows 10 and Windows 11. So we should be able to hit all the gamers and be able to download it and play at the maximum ability of your machine.
Amazing. And just to reiterate what you said before, we do not require you to enter any passwords into this.
I want to be clear,
right?
Clear about that. No passphrases.
Oh, sorry.
Not your meta wallet
passphrases.
Like any DuskBreakers experience, you have to put in your email and your DuskBreakers account. That's normal, but there is no MetaMask passphrases. We don't gain access to your crypto wallet any more than any other website that you connect your Web3 wallet to. So if the security is like the primary concern and the reason that we went with this approach, as opposed to other approaches where you actually have to give the keys to the kingdom to the game. I don't want to store, own, or know about any of your sensitive information. All I'm looking for is, can I verify that you are the person that you say you are? And can I get the public metadata off of that? So we don't have anything private and nothing special. The launcher pops up this web page. You can actually perform all the interactions that you perform on dustbreakers.gg in this web page as well. For example, if you want to change the breaker to, if you are a breaker holder and you want, a particular breaker boost, you can go to this page and click it and change it. Then when you launch the game itself, you will have that breaker. They should appear in the upper left-hand corner as they have historically, and the boost that breaker applies to your gameplay should, follow through as well.
Amazing. All right, cool. And there you have it. So everybody, you also do not need a breaker to play. You do not need to be a holder of one of our NFTs to play the game. But it's available now and we'll talk about more about that later. But for now, let's get into our very special guest. Thank you, JT. Wengie from Nyan Heroes. Wengie, welcome to the stage. Go ahead and mute yourself. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm good. I'm excited for this conversation.
Me too. And so just to kind of set this up, so I've known you for a while, and I know that you're one of the co-founders of Nyan Heroes, but I knew you before this. So I know you as a YouTuber, as a musical artist. But I want you to talk about Nyan Heroes. Can you just give us the pitch of it? Like, what is it?
Yeah, we're a very fun project. So Nyan Heroes is the solution to gaming on Solana. Big call. No, we basically started the project because we wanted to create a AAA quality game that can stand against traditional games on the blockchain. So Web3 gaming so far, we're still growing and, the quality is getting better and we're learning from all the mistakes. Everyone, has teething issues. But what I love about our project is not only it's a AAA quality game, it's a third-person shooter battle royale. So similar to Fortnite, Apex Legends. So you work in teams of 3 to survive, and we've got 9 classes of heroes. And I think the fun twist on our project is they're cats piloting robots. So when you control your little robot, you have a little cat in the little cockpit with their little remote controls piloting it. And that's because, me and my co-founder Max, we're crazy cat people. I'm a crazy cat lady. Have 3 cats. They also have a YouTube channel with 700,000 subscribers. So my cats do not live rent-free in my house. Unfortunately, they pay their dues, which is cool. And then our broader mission for our project is to save 1 billion cats. And we've so far donated $250,000 to Best Friends Society, which is an animal shelter, to promote a no-kill kind of shelter. And we always encourage our community to do as much as they can for our little creatures in the world. As we go on, we created the Nyan DAO about 1 week ago. And, we want to also use the community to help towards this cause as well. So it's a very fun game. We have a 4 to 5 year roadmap, which is on our website, nyanheroes.com. Our Twitter is @nyanheroes. So if you want to find out more about the project as well, we've already done a Genesis mint for our NFT. So if you want to be part of this project, you can grab it on the secondary market like Magic Eden. So yeah, the floor price I believe is around 9 to 10 Sol. I'm not too sure, but with this you get 2 free airdrops of a playable character. So it's actually really good value. When you're holding the NFT, we're going to take a snapshot at 2 points in time in the future, and you'll be dropped one of these playable characters in a random class that you can then use in the game when we do launch it end of the year. Upcoming, we have some pretty fun things. We have some really cool content coming out, as well as an impending IDO, which will be very exciting. And for the past couple of months, ever since we started this project, we've been working really hard. We've raised seed capital already with some really great investors like 3AC, Defiance, and also, we've recruited really heavily, so we're now over a team of 40 working on this game. So I'm super excited, and it looks good. I can't wait for you guys to see the content coming out.
Amazing. Wow, you set up everything for us, and it's a lot, and very, 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 very amazing. Disclosure: Kevin Lin, who is the founder, CEO of DuskBreakers, our project, is an advisor on yours. Mm-hmm. And I am also disclosure. A multiple holder of a couple of the 9 cats as well, and I didn't know about the airdrop actually, so I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah. But one of the things I just as you commented on the floor price, so I want to make it my quick observation is that I'm not by no means a Solana expert. I've looked around at very various projects and seen kind of like the volatility of them. Just a general non-advice comment: the floor price for Nyan Heroes, what they a higher supply, you have a 1111, right? 11,000 supply has been very consistent. So I find that to be really interesting. And it's good, right? To be consistent. Like you're not cratering or and all that. So, yeah. Because as a multiple holder, I am of course very cognizant of what the floor price is. And you also can stake too, which you send them on exhibitions, right?
Yeah. So little expeditions, they go and fight for you. You get catnip, which is our in-game token. And I think the stability of our floor price comes back down to kind of our overall kind of culture with the project. We've always been a project that encourages long-term holding, not so much flipping as much, but we create as many sort of situations that encourages our community to actually hold the NFT versus trying to sell it for more or flip it or anything like that. So that's just kind of what we aim for, because we're here for the long term, and we do like the stability. And part of that interesting part of our project is we are creating a stable coin for our in-game token. So if you're familiar with Axie has the Axie token and SLP, which is their in-game kind of currency that you earn when you play the game. And both tokens fluctuate according to the market, speculation, supply, etc. What's very interesting about our project is we decided to create a stable in-game token. So catnip, which is your in-game token, which is what you earn when you play the game, and also what you're earning now while you're staking your NFTs, is going to be pegged to the US dollar. So the price, well, the price of your inventory assets, etc., that you earn while you play the game won't lose its value. And we believe that's something that we want to do as well, to look after our community. We want to reward you and keep you rewarded for the time you spend on the game.
Amazing. Wow, that's a lot. So, well, let's get into some of the questions. So if you have questions for Wengie, feel free to request. I'll bring you up. We do have some pre-asked questions before this event started from our Discord. So I'm gonna just get those out of the way first, Wengie, and then we can bring up people. I saw a request earlier. Sorry I didn't catch you in time, but feel free to request again. We'll get you up here. All right. So from Slayer Jules, and I'm going to expand on this question too, because I have a very similar question for you. Curious to hear how your fan base reacted to your move into Web3, and if there were some negative reactions, and how did you handle that? And for just to add to my version of this question is, like, you are an influencer by kind of classification in many ways. As a YouTuber, a lot of subscribers on your channel. Your cat channel has a lot of subscribers. But I don't see you like heavily shilling the project to your fans as I see some of the other influencers that have done it kind of in an icky way. Like, I see you doing, I don't see you pushing that hard to your fan base. So please speak to that if you can.
Yeah, you're right. I haven't actually, quote unquote, shilled my project to my existing audience, only because I feel like it's actually like a very specific kind of project, and for someone that isn't familiar with Web3, there's a lot of things you need to navigate and understand when you do get involved with Web3. There are obviously risks. There's, a big educational gap as to how to, buy an NFT. Also, the cost of NFTs are quite high in comparison to maybe like a merch product you release as an influencer. So for me, I didn't feel like, shilling to my existing fan base. They also tend to be quite young, the fan base that I already have. So, to be responsible, I kind of wanted to pretty low key about it. I didn't want to sell them on it. If they were curious and they want to find out more, they're more than welcome to. I put it in my profile and everything, but in no way, shape, or form is the community with Nyan Heroes from my existing community. So we built a community from scratch that is native Web3. And we built it like we built any other community. I guess where me and my co-founder Max excel in is building communities from scratch, because we've done it before. We've done it multiple times. So we just thought it'd be much better for the project to just have a native Web3 community that is interested in the project just organically. So that's kind of what we did. So I didn't really shill it. In the times that I did mention it, there was some negativity. I think mainly from the most common negative comment I got was about energy efficiency and the impact on the environment, because I think there were a few headlines, about Bitcoin's impact on the environment with all the mining and everything like that. But I feel like that just comes from a place where if you're not super educated in the space, you can assume that. Of course, we know Solana is one of the most eco-friendly blockchains that exists. So that's a great thing about our project, and that's why we chose Solana. But also, more importantly, in the whole like energy efficiency kind of argument about the blockchain and the mining and everything, I feel like that's a very short-term focus. I feel like in the long term, if everyone moves towards owning digital assets as opposed to physical assets, the amount of waste that we're going to save from, people buying like 100 pairs of shoes that they don't need and then throwing it or reselling it, but just basically you don't need 100 shoes. Who can actually wear 100 shoes? They all end up in the landfill one day, So in the long term, if, the culture shifts from accumulating physical goods that you don't need and will end up in the landfill to digital goods that you can keep in your wallet, even though, yes, if you're on a, energy inefficient blockchain, it might, take more energy. In that way, I still think in the long term, it's healthier for Mother Nature and our environment. And also, we can solve the energy issue through solar energy, wind energy, et cetera, it's very hard to solve like the landfill issue. What do you do? Like create more land to throw useless shoes in? I don't know. But to me, I'm still bullish on crypto. I don't believe that is that much of an issue. So I kind of did try and educate them on that by replying those kind of comments. But, you're going to get that from people that don't really understand about the space.
As a person who became vegan because of the environment and has asked about this specific question myself, your answer is almost exactly what I say. So I really appreciate that. Jason, Jossie, if you guys want to jump in and ask a question for Wengie, feel free. Otherwise, we're just going to go on to the next question.
Sure. Actually, hi, Wengie. Nice to meet you. I'm Joshi.
Hi, Joshi.
I'm a community lead at DuskBreakers, and I just started full-time this week, so excited to be on this AMA here with you and Bernie and everyone. So I've just been trying to build the community here at DuskBreakers, and now you've got a head start on us. You were, much earlier to the game than DuskBreakers, so I've got kind of two questions for you. You said that you learned from some other projects on the way up. Is there any major lesson that you learned? Like, what was a major roadblock or hurdle that, Nyan Heroes has already faced that you had to try to find a solution for? And then I guess part two of that is more community-based, but I was curious if there's anything beyond Discord and Twitter that you use to keep your community active. Obviously, feel free to answer in any order there, but just picking your brain while we have you here.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on being full-time with DuskBreakers. That's exciting. And welcome. I guess in terms of like the first question for the roadblocks that we've had in our project, we've been really lucky. I feel like generally being in Web3, it never stops, but that wasn't a huge issue for me because I was in social media, which never stops. But I would say the biggest roadblock for us as a project is talent-based. So it was very hard for us to find developers, especially on Solana, and Solana uses Rust, which kind of cuts out a lot of your available talent to begin with, because most talent learns Solidity. Solidity is used in a wide variety of blockchains like Ethereum, etc. So that was like for us the biggest hurdle, and we've been really lucky to have Metaplex come in and have a decent code base with us. Solana has been very supportive in auditing code for us. Like, even though they weren't able to help us find a developer or anything like that, they did provide some assistance in helping us audit the code we managed to pull together with very thin resources. I would say development talent would be the biggest roadblock for us. So, if anyone out there is an engineer, let me know, hit me up, that knows Rust. In terms of community, we mainly focus on Discord, Twitter, and I wouldn't even say Instagram. No, I don't think it's necessary. For us, it's mainly Discord and Twitter and our website. That's not really a community, but those are kind of the platforms we use. Medium as well to launch like announcements and things like that. But other than those, we haven't really kind of dabbled in anything else. We have a Telegram presence too, but I wouldn't say that's something like we solely focus on. It's more like to reply questions people have. But yeah, Discord is probably our main thing, and then Twitter secondary. And I think, there's no need to kind of be on all platforms because, like you said, you have to maintain the engagement on every platform you start. And the more platforms you start, the more you need to maintain. So I think the reality is try and bite as much as you can chew.
I agree. And that's a great answer, actually. The roadblock answer is perfect. Hiring, I think every project, Web3 right now is a very fertile ground for a lot of developers and even people like me that can't, develop anything. I just got into NFTs really in December with DuskBreakers being my first kind of entry point. And now I'm, full-time job, very quick turnaround for skilled people and passionate people, which is fantastic. And then for the community thing, that's also, very important to hear because before DuskBreakers, I was a Twitch partner for many years. And, the goal there is typically to go wide. post on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, like leave, no social ground unturned to promote everything. But it's very interesting to pick your brain there and hear that Twitter and Discord really are, they're pretty much the forefront of communications for Web3 still. So I'm curious if Reddit or Twitter communities or Telegram, as you mentioned, if any of those will end up, replacing or sneakily, becoming a meeting ground for Web3. But I'm satisfied with those answers. Thank you. If anyone else, Jason or Bernie, wants to ask again now, floor is yours.
Bernie, why don't you jump back into the list of questions? Hi, I'm Jason, by the way.
Hey, Jason. Completely agree with the analysis. All right, let's go to the next question. So Suleiman asks, how do you Wengie see marketing evolving? If communities take both a more active role in owning the products, and maybe the goal isn't just for profit first, what kind of messages will be presented? How do you see marketing evolving as communities get more active in the participation, I guess, in the products?
Yeah, well, I guess the beauty of Web3, unlike Web2, is decentralizing a lot of things that we are doing. And I feel like marketing is one of them. So originally, I started in marketing. I've been doing digital marketing for the past, I would say, too many years, 10, 15, I don't know. Very, very many years. And I've seen kind of digital marketing evolve from the very early days of like SEO to SEO now, with really social media taking over SEO. SEO is like less important, but like paid ads are still very important. So like marketing has evolved, especially digitally, for a long time. And I think Web3 is definitely going to come in and change that landscape. Definitely. I would say it's decentralizing marketing in a way. Like for, project like Nyan Heroes, I think the most powerful kind of marketing is if our community went out and shared the project. And I think with a lot of NFT projects in Web3 that I've discovered, a lot of the projects I've heard is mainly from word of mouth. It's like my friends in a group going, wow, like you should check out this NFT. So the power of word of mouth has always existed. I feel like it's just changed and evolved in a way. And now the beauty of Web3 is like they get rewarded and paid for word of mouth now. Previously, and I was listening to a podcast, and one of the things that really stood out is how to explain the difference between Web 2 and Web 3. Web 2 solved a lot of issues with distribution, connecting, someone like me to the internet. And prior to, social media on Web 2, it was very hard for anyone to broadcast themselves and get a message out. That was all owned by centralized kind of, news channels or magazines. And then when Web 2 came along, that became a little bit more decentralized and gave a voice to someone like me that could grow a following just from like my home, my bedroom. And I think where Web 3 comes in, it solves the payment problem. So even though Web 2 was able to create that distribution, Web 3 created one distribution and the ability to pay people instantly for XYZ. And, Web 2 wasn't able to solve that. So Web 3 being able to solve that, I feel like could change marketing, because I've worked in big companies with really big marketing budgets. They spend a lot of money in marketing. But imagine being able to split that with your community and just pay them for their word of mouth and sharing it. That's where I see marketing evolving to. And that's kind of one of the reasons we started Nyan DAO as well, because we saw the power of marketing with our community versus hiring another, 5 community full-time people on our team. We thought, why don't we, use that budget and encourage our community who are, one, already really passionate about project, 2, already know, all the details about our project, and 3, can share it very authentically and passionately. Why don't we put the budget aside for our community to do it for us? So that's kind of how I see marketing evolving to. And I guess the role of the project itself is just to create the narrative and control like the way it's being shared, as in like, this is the marketing message, this is what our project is about, and just sharing that with the community. And that's kind of our job as a project. And then hopefully with enough excitement and about the product, the community can then push it forward.
Wow, awesome. Actually, that kind of leads into one of the final questions that we have on the pre-ask. I'm actually going to text this to you just so you see it as I'm reading it out for the AMA because there's a couple steps to it. All right. So this is from Dilu. How have you had to adjust your growth hacking strategies in Web3 compared to Web2? We're seeing a lot of these strategies being used perhaps out of mimicry versus true strategy, joint venture, partnerships, collabs, for example. Which part of the funnel is easier and which part is more challenging? Feels like with shilling and tokens, the funnel is turned on its side a bit. Thank you. This is exactly what he says. So there's a lot there, and it could be some pretty high level thoughts here. But I'm really curious to see. I'm actually curious what you think about this guy, because your experience is vast, considering that, like you just said, you've kind of ridden through 2 and 3 very, very clearly. So please get into it.
Wow. Okay, this is a very detailed question. I'm gonna try.
Answer what you feel.
Understand it,
yes.
The way he's explaining it. I hope I'm understanding the question correctly. But I would say, in terms of strategy between Web 2 and 3, I wouldn't say, the strategy is very different. I would say Web 3 has a heavier emphasis on, like what he mentioned, which is partnerships and collaborations, simply because I feel like Web3 projects are a lot more open to collaborating and helping each other out. Even if it's not in a public-facing sense, I feel like Web3 community is very helpful compared to Web2. Like if you need to find out anything, if you need to, someone to help you with something, there's always someone there on Web3 able to take some time and help. I feel like there's a lot more emphasis on quote-unquote hype on Web3 versus Web2. A lot of
for sure. For sure.
Yes, they're more like, I guess also because Web2 has been around for longer, they're more like, I would say, feel like they're like settled strategies, like he's mentioned, create a funnel, go on all these platforms, find the conversion rate for all the platforms, and then kind of like judge and change A/B test content or images or whatever to kind of, see where it goes. But I feel like with Web3, it's like you either start an explosion or you die. It's either you're hype or you're not. So I would say that's the biggest difference between Web3 and Web2 in terms of creating the hype. I'm not really sure, because I feel like our project in general, we didn't really go for like a hype train kind of vibe either. Like you said, our floor price is very stable. It just kind of grows slowly over time. So I guess maybe I'm taking too much Web 2 strategy into Web 3. That's the reflection.
To me, it's remarkably stable. Again, in comparison to other projects I'm tracking, it's like the other ones are so volatile where they just go straight down. Like it's really stable, and your supply is really high, or higher, not really high, just higher than over 10,000. So I find it to be really, really cool. Anyway, all right, so let's keep going. Jason, Jossie, you want to jump in with any questions? While that's happening, I'd like to invite anybody else who wants to ask a question for Wengie to request or write in our Discord, or however you want to ask a question. Anybody?
I'll just piggyback off of that previous answer there about the hype and, FOMO and vapor. And, we've seen a bunch of projects, obviously more launching every day, but it's the lead up to mint and the lead up to reveal where you see a lot of these tactics employed, where it's like, hey, we've got this carrot that we can dangle for everybody, and that is a Discord invite or a whitelist or some benefit leading up to potentially making some money. So it is interesting coming from Web 2 and traditional marketing to this area where it's like you could potentially exploit some people just by having them jump through hoops for various things, or you could just let them do what DuskBreakers did, which is like the play to mint event. Everybody had an equal chance. You just play the minigame one time, and have a shot at that equal barrier to entry. And you see the crowds kind of come and go. They chase the carrot on the string from project to project. So that is something that I'm always very interested to talk about and learn more about as well. Is just how do you balance the hype with the actual products. And, DuskBreakers doesn't have our full game experience fully built yet. We've been offering mini games and little holder contests and raffles and things like that along the way. Could definitely, crank that dial up to try and get more people attached, or we could just, ride the course. And I think that, so far we've done a pretty good job. So I think Nyan Heroes, if anyone else is ready to ask a question, if not, do you think the community was like a smooth, steady build? Do you think you've got more of a dedicated base now? Is it more of a big turnover? Like we mentioned the supply before is like 11,000. Does that swell up and down? I know the floor price we mentioned is steady, but what about the actual like volume of player base for your community?
Yeah, I would say, like you mentioned, the mint event what drives a lot of the community build up and the community excitement. It's been I think we minted a couple months ago, so we've been dealing with like post-mint marketing issues, which is keeping the engagement while you're building the game, etc. But yeah, I would say our community was built mainly initially from the NFT drop, and for us it's just maintaining the excitement. I feel like every time you have a big event though, a new influx of community will come in. I'm thinking, our next big event will probably be our IDO, and that's when, new community will come in, which will be token holders for NYN that will be launching. So I would say, it's not like a steady growth. I would say huge growth around the mint and the reveal. And then it's just about maintaining that. I would say, we've been trying to maintain the engagement and doing it quite decently with a bunch of partnership announcements, leaks. So we like to share the progress of the game with our community, and we'll drop, new weapon concepts that we have or new character concepts that we have. And that's kept the community quite engaged because I think they like to see what's coming out, because at the end of the day, they want to see the game come to life. And also giveaways. We do regular giveaways about NFTs as well to keep the community engaged. But yeah, I'm always open if anyone else has ideas on how to solve this engagement issue. I also had a big discussion with like Becca.sol on like how come, because we're specifically a gaming project, which is very different to like a PFP project, I would say. So, there's always this like difference in marketing and engagement I find with gaming projects versus like PFP projects. And that is, I was discussing this with her and she saw it as well. It's like usually with gaming projects, while the game is being developed, there's just like a little bit of a lull and then it comes back up when the game is launched. So that's just, reality of, the community situation in the industry. But I feel like PFP projects that do really well in the marketing end release a lot of content, just like fun little animations, keep events going for their members. I think that's key.
Awesome. Hey, leading to that, we actually have a question from Discord. A Lucky 777. I see you on Discord. I know she's part of Shizuka at the very least. I know him from. But go ahead and ask your question. Everybody will be able to hear you just fine. So go ahead and ask.
So the question is, pleasure to meet you, and thanks for being here and having us. My question is, what was the biggest obstacle leading up to Mint, and how did you grow your community to support the project? And a secondary question, I think you kind of went around a little bit, like what was the drop off from of the community after Mint, and how were you able to bring them back?
Yeah, so good questions. The very first question I would answer, the biggest roadblock leading up to Mint for us was one, getting the art ready took a lot longer than we expected. We had a timeline of a month. It ended up taking like an extra 1 or 2 months. And then after that, we had trouble with the more like development side of things of launching the project. We were trying to think of a way, many different ways to prevent people from buying multiple NFTs, preventing bots from coming in, preventing whales from coming in. So, the biggest roadblock was, sitting down and thinking of a strategy for that. And I believe we ended up doing pretty good. We have a lot more unique holders and we gated a lot of it. It also meant that during the Mint it was kind of a very, very complicated mint. So with 30 minutes of our mint, you had to place a bid. And then at the end of the 30 minutes, the median bid was taken, and that was the price of our NFT for the next 30 minutes. So it was a really interesting protocol on Solana. And we found that a lot of people didn't really know how to use it and had trouble actually bidding on the NFT, and we had to then create a separate protocol to sell directly. So I would say like the technical issues was our biggest roadblock. With building the community up to that point, it was actually honestly not that challenging because we were very lucky to be early on Solana. I would say it was, I think with marketing and things like that, timing is actually a very big part of it, not just your strategy. Sometimes being kind of like first to market or the first few projects to market that are exciting gives you an extra boost because people don't have much else to talk about. So we were really lucky to, one, have an interesting project that no one has really heard of before. I believe we're kind of the first shooter kind of game that was announced on Solana at the time. And then we were really lucky to onboard a big influencer, Soul Big Brain, who initially kickstarted our community. And he did a really good job of that. As soon as he tweeted about our project, we just had a huge bunch of people join our Discord, which was very lucky. And they were all, interested in Solana NFT projects. So that actually kind of went really smoothly. And we're really happy with how that went. And all we did to build our community was actually less, we did push out content, yes, but we actually did a lot of networking on the back end, just sharing our projects with other Solana influencers. I went to a lot of NFT events and just shared the project with every single person I could meet. And then like Web3 was very word of mouth based, so we're able to get our project quite far to a lot of people's ears quite early. So that I feel was like quite smooth. And I guess you can't underestimate just getting on a call with someone or going to an event and meeting people and really sharing your name in the ecosystem.
Just for clarification, when was your mint, Wengie? Just so people can timeline this.
It was during the Lisbon breakpoint.
Do you know if a month or year that was? I remember it was last year, and I'm trying to remember the month, like when the mint was, but it was earlier. It was like late last year, I remember. So no, I just want to give people context.
Yeah, it was in early November. It was November like 8. Don't quote me on it.
You don't have to don't have to be exact. Just want to give people context of the timeline because obviously the space pivots and changes very quickly. Anyway, Lucky, do you have a follow up there?
Yeah, and then
I have one more. So I know that Wengie said that her whitelist process is played to mint, right? So that resolves any type of what we have here in Web3, where Bernie, I think you're probably maybe going through that as well. I think whitelisting has been an issue in terms of every project is trying to resolve that problem to balance between gaming or having people grind. Like how would you resolve that issue here in this project? And that's my last question.
So just to clarify, we're the play to mint one. So we had the mini game where they play.
Oh, yeah. Got it. That's a pretty cool idea. That's a cool concept to have that done without having people grind for it, right? If you want it, just go play and get that whitelist.
I mean, the tricky thing is you have to have someone like a JT who's here who had to build a game, so and his team. But Wengie, go ahead and if you want to chime in there.
Yeah, we had that bidding system. It was a 2-step bidding system that prevented a lot of bots from coming in. So we just made it really, really complicated to mint an NFT, which is how we solved it. And then you had one other question about engagement. I'm just looking at, our Twitter posts in the Nyan Heroes account. I would say the engagement hasn't dropped since our mint, and our community has grown. So I would say engagement has been stable, community has grown. I think there's just a lot of people just kind of not being actively participating in the content, but just waiting for announcements, but keeping their ear out. So yeah, that's kind of what we've experienced. In terms of bringing people back, I think it's about creating activities and announcements that can involve your members, whether it's, like mini games or staking or just some sort of big event with your project is important.
Nice. All right, let's go to the next question. I see.
Thank you so much.
All right, Alfred on Twitter. Go ahead and ask your question. Alfred, you there? Okay. Waiting until he comes back. David. Oh no. David from our team just hop on. David, you have a question for Wengie here?
Yeah, sure. I'll throw a question in. Hey, Wengie. David here, head of brand. And, I know that because I'm living it, the transition from sort of running your own project to managing a team of 40 and up is incredibly difficult. A major shift. And I'm curious to know what's something really interesting that you had to learn quickly, and what you're currently learning so that you can better run and manage your project.
Yeah, good question. I think the thing we had to learn quickly, we spent a lot of time, one, raising money, two, hiring, and then three, engaging the community. Community side, we were pretty familiar with, but I think the things I had to learn the most of was, one, I've never raised money before. I've never dealt with investors before. So that was like a big learning curve for us. We've also hired before, but not, at this kind of level. And that was another big learning curve, having conversations. I guess I learned that the most important thing when you're hiring is to create a project that is exciting for people to join. And I know that sounds like very basic, but when you're sitting there and you're talking to like a lead from like Respawn, he's going to be like, well, why would I want to join this project when, one, I've already built being part of a very successful game, two, monetary wise, I'm good. So what else can you kind of offer your talent? So I just had to learn really quickly how to communicate, priority points, understand what people are looking for and why, and being able to deliver that. That's something I've had to learn really quickly. And then now what I'm focusing on is working with my team to create a culture these people want to be part of, me and my co-founder, we've never built a company with so many people. And now that you have so many people, it's how do you pull everyone together to feel like they're part of one big thing while everyone's working remotely and everyone's in different time zones. It's very scattered. It's what kind of programs and activities and things can we do to make people feel like they belong somewhere? I'm coming up with thinking of ways we could create programs for our leadership teams to grow. I'm kind of looking out for books that are useful in leadership roles, so I can recommend those books for our leaders to read and get better. So just little things like that. I focus more on the culture side of things because that's what I love. So those are the kind of things I'm learning and trying to get better at.
Awesome. That's David's one of the co-founders of DuskBreakers too. So it's co-founder to co-founder.
Yes.
So sharing that alpha. David, any follow up there before I move on?
No, but I'd love to be included on your reading list. I'm basically killing a book every 2 days over here.
Awesome.
So, yeah, hit me up if you got any good recs.
I'll link you guys for sure. Wengie's like family, so all good. All right, let's keep it going. Alfred, you back? We're also gonna move on. Alfred.
Oh, hey, sorry, I was in the middle of childcare.
That's all right. I understand. You have a question for Wengie or us? Feel free to ask.
Yeah. So I know, I know, DuskBreakers is going through the development, and I was wondering whether or not you guys have been building partnerships with gaming guilds that may eventually be getting together to, the ones that specifically focus on like play to earn, to try and build up that trust and relationship there?
Bernie, I think that's a question for you, right?
That was for DuskBreakers team.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to co-host. Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, I totally lapsed it.
He was asking about potential partnerships with gaming guilds, and we did have Gabby.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, so nothing is concrete yet. I would say, obviously, you guys will find out as soon as anything is allowed to be known. But I mean, we've got network
on that. Yeah.
Yes.
So, between obviously, Kevin Lin, the most connected man in all the entire world, has very deep relationships with a wide range of gaming guilds, including Gabby's. Absolutely. When we're further along in our development, we are absolutely going to be, reaching out to the gaming guilds where we already have good relationships, and also going through our investors and our network in order to hit the ones that we don't have direct connects to. And we plan on building, for launch, a strong community of gamers ready to hit the ground running when we have our game ready to go.
Awesome. All right, let's go to the next question. This is from Discord. It's from Callie Wu on Discord, or Calistar here in the Twitter. It's twofold. So first one, Wengie, what are your thoughts about the DuskBreakers project and community? Things it's doing well and things you're excited about? ? Go ahead. Be honest.
Yeah, well, I was really excited about it. I'm actually an investor as well in DuskBreakers, so
So you're very excited about it.
From the very, very beginning. So yeah, I kind of know the longer term roadmap of DuskBreakers, and I'm kind of looking forward to what they have in store in the next, the next stage of the project, if that makes sense.
Nice. Awesome. And then a follow-up question from Callie as well. What has your experience been being a female in the NFT space?
I would say it feels like we're a rare species. that first of all. But, I feel like Web3 is really welcoming and celebrating females, which I really love. And, I've got lots of great opportunities as a female, because we are always trying to highlight, female founders in Web3, and I've participated in a lot of those communities, and there's a lot of projects that do that, like World of Women, which, is really great to see. And I think, Web3 is one of those industries that I feel like celebrate women a lot more than a lot of other industries, and I love that. And, International Women's Day is coming up on the 8th, so we get to celebrate more with that. But yeah, I actually haven't felt, any discrimination or anything like that. I just feel like there's just not that much women around. But I feel like that's going to change, and it is changing really rapidly and quickly. And one of the things I do believe is, telling other women to give it a shot. It's not that scary. I think one of the main kind of things that I've heard from other women wanting to get into Web3, it seems really daunting. It seems very, what's that word? Intimidating. I think that's the word, but not at all. I feel like, in a team in Web3, we need all sorts of different people. We need marketing people, community people, and women can come in and take those roles really easily, and you can learn about Web3. In fact, some of our members of our team, we've trained Web3 to them, but they've taken skills from, other industries, and then we've just retrained them for Web3, and that's very, very possible. And everyone's always willing to help, so just jump on a Discord call with someone and don't be afraid to ask questions. But yeah, I love being a woman in Web3. I think it's great, and I think Web3 treats women very, very well.
Amazing. Awesome. Let's keep going because we've got top of the hour. Nyan Heroes, love the name. Feel free to ask your question.
Hi, thank you. we are an investor guild that has formed with our Nyan Heroes. And I, being a woman, was going to ask Wengie about her experience. But also, Wengie, when you have all of these hats to wear with your music career and your influencer career with your YouTube, do you feel like you're stretched too thin?
Yes, thank you. I love fellow women Web3. Yay. Excited to hear a female voice. In terms of being stretched too thin, I feel like I've always been like a workaholic. If you guys believe in zodiac signs, I'm a Capricorn. If that means anything to you. I'm always working. I feel like working is like my playtime. So in terms of being stretched too thin, not really. What I've been really lucky is I think I've just like dedicated buckets of time to my different projects. So I was spending a lot of time with the NFT project, when we were starting it, creating it. And when we had a smaller team, that was like my whole time. And I had to drop YouTube. I didn't really post videos on YouTube. I had to like take a break from my music as well for a while and just focus on NFTs for that period of time. And I don't regret that. And then now that we've been able to kind of establish the project a little bit more and build a team, and I think the most important thing with not being stretched too thin is to kind of just really be very clear. And this comes with like knowing yourself the best. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And then delegate everything that you're not good at. So I'm really lucky to be in a position where I can just focus on what I am good at and just spend time doing that. And there's actually a lot of kind of bridges between the three things that I do, because I do meet a lot of people. And one of the things that I feel like I bring to the project and I love doing is just sharing the project with everyone that I meet. And you never know who's going to be interested, even if they aren't in Web3. Maybe they're like a musician or a producer. Like that could help later on as well. So yeah, I haven't really felt stretched too thin. I'm really lucky to have a very big supportive team behind me. So yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Amazing. It's as someone who's it's kind of sees from afar, I'm like, it's impressive. I'll say that. So amazing. All right, cool. Well, anyway, we're past the top of the hour. So if there are not any more questions for Wengie from anybody on stage or in Discord, going once, going twice. Amazing. So Wengie, thank you for joining us on our biweekly AMA. Hope this was a fun experience for you.
Yeah, it was fun. I love it. Invite me again.
I'd love to have you back. I'll message you an inspiration thought that I just had about another way we can play. Don't want to do it now because I don't want to make any promises to people.
She's going to come back because she said she's invested. So she's going to come get a status report in the future from us. She's going to be asking the questions.
Exactly. She's like, how's your ROI? How's it going?
Yeah. How is it going, guys?
Well, let's give Wengie a chance to just give a final, any final thoughts or call to action, for people to check out your project. Like where should they get started?
Yeah, thank you. Check out our Twitter at Nyan Heroes. Check out our Discord, which is linked for our Twitter. We have some major updates. Stick around for our IDO announcement, which I'm very excited about, and get your hands on some NYN tokens. So that's something we're solely focused on right now. So that's exciting. Thank you.
Amazing. And Nyan Heroes, the Twitter account is in the spaces. You can just click on their little icon and follow them right through here. So really simple. All right. Amazing. Wengie, you're welcome to just stick around. But we're just going to do some community updates for our community. So totally up to you. But I'll message you afterward, of course.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks.
So I'm going to,
guys.
Thanks, Wengie.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. So I'm going to throw it to Jason. Jason, what do we got?
Hello. Sorry,
Or
I also had, like, I was like Oliver. What's her name? What was the guy's name earlier?
Alfred.
Had a
Alfred.
child issue. Yeah, my child was waving me down.
It's all right.
To ask for something. I'm good. I'm here.
Okay, go for it.
She just decided that was the moment that she wanted to jump in. Hi, everybody. Some community updates. So I know Joshi and Bernie and JT covered earlier the launcher, and so I think it's going to give us the launcher in particular is going to give us a lot of headroom and headway to do a bunch of things with the community. We think the performance of the launcher, for example, is going to allow for us to run clips contests, so people playing the game, streaming it, and or making content with it. So really, those are the things that we're going to really encourage, or people to share clips on social. We really do want to reward that sort of activity. So that'll be a thing. I know that with both David and Bernie on the call, the lore and art work is really is truly in a really near state, and so we're going to do a lot of art contests and writing prompt lore contests, and Joshi can speak to that in a second. So those are the sorts of things that we're going to do in the near term. We heard Wengie talk about having influencers, and Alfred also asked about sort of the gaming guilds, and so that's another thing that we should be unlocking soon here. We just did a whole budget thing of all the things we're going to do, and we have, as David mentioned, we have Kevin Lin as our CEO, and he's truly the most connected person in gaming, and we're going to try to find those folks that we've done business with in the past. I worked with Kevin at Twitch, and so we have a lot of relationships that we can look into to drive some more awareness of our project, because I think everybody sees that we're built 2 games. We have the launcher now. We have more art and lore coming, some other really fun, cool things. We set a webcomic, another NFT drop, more games in the future. So I think we have a lot of stuff to play with our community around, and we're excited to see where especially what March brings us, because I think it's gonna be a really busy month, and then onward and upward.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback off of that. We talked about on Discord, we ran a poll to see if you guys wanted to do less Beast Battler overall, and it was pretty favorable in favor of shortening the Beast Battler competition. But now with the launcher, that we've kind of been waiting for that since week 1 of Beast Battler. If you've been with us for that long, we've basically just been delaying. Now that we actually have it, we are opened up quite a bit on things that we can do for community events. So things like streaming, people can actually stream a nice smooth experience rather than maybe a choppier web experience. So we want to incentivize people to actually start creating some content, short form, long form, whatever, reward people who are showing off the game to their communities. And, you guys are the community. Anyone who's here listening to this space clearly is still an early adopter to DuskBreakers. So we want to continue to give you guys value. Holders want to give you value as well. So the fact that you're here and competing every week is fantastic already. We want to give you more and more experiences and not have you just burn out, fighting Big Mama, Grandmama Gribble every single week and, trying to optimize opening a door over and over. So we're going to try and mix it up for you guys. Something that we have been waiting on again for the launcher is to go a bit wider with influencers and things like that, getting the game in more hands, more eyeballs overall. So some things could happen with that. Keep in mind, something that we're very happy about so far is the amount of prizing we've given already, thousands and thousands of dollars of USDC prizes, roughly, a dozen plus DuskBreakers NFTs, lots of partner NFTs and whitelists as well. We want to keep those rolling. We're talking with more people every week on that. So continue to keep eyes peeled on the Discord. I think, many of you already know the value that you're getting just by setting a score each week and paying attention to that giveaways channel. So big kudos to you guys. And thanks again for continually participating. Now we're still trying to get more people on board like you, dedicated players and people who are helpful in the community. So keep telling your friends every week that they could, swing by, check things out now, especially with the launcher. If that was a detriment for quality of gameplay or something like that in the past, now hopefully that is one less barrier. And since it is brand new, we did actually just get the launcher on the website today. We are still relying on you guys for feedback, the actual installation process. If there's any bumps in the road, things like that, please do let us know. We can make it smoother for the future. And this is kind of the first step of the next phase of, contests, competitions. This is also a test, as JT said before, it's kind of an alpha build of a very secure, product here, but still the very first iteration of it. And we're very happy to be able to offer it at all. Now we got to make it as good as we can make it. Don't forget also, you're playing for whitelists for the upcoming NFT set that doesn't have a date yet, but it's coming. You know that holders will get as many NFTs as they have at drop time from the Genesis set. So that set, again, will be more than 10,000. Very exciting stuff internally, hiring lots of people, artists, and people like myself and Jason coming on recently. That's going to continue. So the ramp is still being built. I've said it a few times and in a few different places, but it's still true. And this launcher is just kind of a big step now that allows us to do a lot more. And I feel like I've rambled a lot there, but there was kind of a lot to say. Basically, I'm just really thankful that I get to come on now full time and continue designing these things alongside Jason, Bernie, Adam, Kevin, JT, David, everybody who's listening on the call. The team is fantastic, and we're really still just getting started. So a little bit of a rant from me, but I hope that you guys get excited like we are.
And just to add to that real quick, we basically answered Jishan's question from the AMA. Just want to shout him out that you basically answered all of that, so I'm not going to even read the question. But just nice. Acknowledging that we see the questions out there, and we want to make sure that shout out is there. So very, very cool. All right. So again, we went a little overtime today, but I felt like the conversation with Wengie I thought it was incredibly fascinating to me, and just so much like thought and deliberateness and going into everything. It's like, wow, it's just super cool. And then how she treats her and being respectful to her existing audience as before Web3 as a YouTuber, just seeing how much she respects it was really, really inspiring, because it's like you read so much about these YouTuber influencers just really just hard shilling, and almost like whether it's scammy or not, I don't want to say it is or it isn't, but it just feels so scammy when they just go, yeah, I just aped into this thing. Oh my God, it's going to go to the moon. And then getting their community to do it, and whatever happens afterwards. So it's a lot of respect the way in the way she's approaching using her respecting her old work, and then into her new work in Web3, her Web2 to Web3 work. So I see Nyan Heroes is still in the chat, so it's like shout outs to your founder. You guys are killing it. Just want to put that out there. All right, cool. Joshi, Jason, David, any last words to our community? I feel like you covered almost all of it, if not everything that we wanted to add.
I think you covered all the bases. I think it was a great interview, and we have our exciting announcement too. So I think we're ready to get people. We can see from Discord that people are in the game and have downloaded the launcher and are playing it and remarking how smooth it is. So everybody get over to the DuskBreakers.gg website. You should see launcher at the top navigation, and then there'll be a page with an FAQ and a link to download the launcher and get in the game.
And with that is our AMA for this week. We'll be back in 2 weeks for our next AMA. We are, as Joshi and Jason said, week 6 of the Beast Battler, now with a launcher where you can play smooth, do some clips, kill some beasts, and win some prizes. With that, gentlemen, and for speaking for Wengie, have a great rest of the week, and we will see you hopefully on Discord. Thanks, everybody.